Bop, 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 bop. And we're live. This is Jonathan Hayes, and I'm here with the notorious Ghost.
What's up, man?
How's it going for you on this beautiful Sunday?
It's going pretty good, man. It's getting pretty hot here in Texas, so the studio's always hot in the summertime. I don't have the AC doesn't work very good out here, so
Yeah, I'm always fighting processing heat from my computer every time, like always. It's a constant demon you have to fight.
yeah.
So let's go right into this on this beautiful Sunday. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So let's go ahead and talk about the fact that you've recently come off of on tour, right?
Right. Yep.
That's amazing, actually, especially for the music that you do. Being on tour is quite the honor, actually. So how was that? I mean, how was the tour? I mean, where some of the places you went? I know you played with Dan Terminus and you played with Perturbator, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
The tour was cool, man. Being the first one, we kind of had to go bare bones as far as like accommodations. So we were, we were in a kind of a bigger Sprinter bus van kind of thing. And I think we only had like 7 hotel dates out of almost a month of touring. So the rest of the time we were sleeping in that thing or in a venue. So I mean that part of it sucked, but I mean going to all these places and seeing the actual turnout, like there is a market for it, and it's weird. It was great. It was great.
There is, yeah, there's definitely a market for it, and it's like a completely unlikely demographic that goes along with it, right? I mean, it's a lot of metal fans. I mean, it's not a bunch of nostalgics going to the
No,
show.
it's they're there for sure, but yeah, there's a lot of metalheads. There's actually girls that show up, so I mean it's a completely diverse group of people for sure. But everybody's very into it and very happy. So
That's awesome. That's very cool. So tell me about your setup. So you know, like, what are you armed with when you're going on stage doing this? 'Cause this is all unwritten, isn't it? I mean,
well, I mean, yeah, I used for half this tour I used Tractor with the S8 controller, and then I got tired of it and went and I switched to Ableton like really about midway and got the APC, I don't remember, some Akai controller, and it's basically mainly, I mean, you could call it a DJ set for this tour. That's what we all kind of did because of travel costs and bringing a bunch of gear and setting up every night for this tour it wouldn't have worked. So we were all just using simple controllers and laptops.
yeah, I can imagine it wouldn't work right off the bat. Just doing it for the first time and figuring out what's going to work and what's not going to work. Yeah, I couldn't see doing a whole situation where you're coming up with crazy shit and a band and, and stuff like
Right,
that.
right,
No
right.
way. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out like a live setup here with a couple of guys, and it. I don't know. It's a hard balance to look like a DJ or to look like Aha. It's one of the two that you have to choose from.
Yeah. We did get some complaints about it being DJ sets. So like me and Perturbator came home and immediately bought controllers and synths. So the next tour will be a live show. So that's
It's
something to look forward to if you care.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel what you're saying there. I don't understand why anyone would really have issues with that, though. It's so stupid. I came here to see somebody do music. Well, you did.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, the show's gonna be much more boring with me, but like playing a couple synthesizers because I'm gonna have to fucking concentrate now.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to keep your head down and work. I don't understand that because like you get people like Dead Mouse who make millions and millions of dollars. And yeah, I mean, there's people who complain that all he does is use a DJ setup, but the people making him millions and millions of dollars don't. You
No,
know.
they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
And
So
for me, man, the live experience is always more about just you know connecting immediately with the artist and the artist connecting with the fans. So people that piss and moan over the setup, I don't know. They're just probably the type of people that aren't going to really be pleased anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it was only like a couple here and there. It wasn't like an everyday type of thing that people complained about, but the negative comments are the ones that stay with you. So
Always.
they're gonna get their fucking way now.
Always. 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 I have this is gonna be the last podcast with this mic. She's finally dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. she, this one's ancient anyways. I've had this for about, I don't know, 14 or 15 years. It's been on the road. It's been done a million things with it. So it's my old reliable's finally dying. It's always sad. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's to me, it's fascinating though that you guys did that. I love the audacity of that. I mean, I know you guys are you're backed by a label, and that's very cool. You're backed by a label out of Finland, right? Blood Music,
Right. Yeah.
right? And very cool because I'm sure they're not a multi-million-dollar label or anything like that. They're probably very grassroots. Yeah,
It's just one. Yeah, it's one guy. It's just one guy.
that is so cool though. That is so freaking cool that he was able to do all that. You guys were able to go to fucking Europe and do it. So, what's the deal with a North American tour? Will that ever happen?
There are very serious real talks right now. So it may even happen without, I don't know, making any promises. It may happen this year. We'll see.
Very, very cool.
There's all kinds of shit being talked about right now. Like I'll be back in Europe before the year's end as well. So there's a lot of things happening.
So, what was some of the memorable shows that you did, and some of the locations that you went to?
Paris was sold out. I think it was like 500 people. And they were crazy. Like they were the best for me, them and Eastern Europe. Like we played Minsk and we played Kiev, and both of those Kiev was like 800 people and they were fucking insane. Like they trying to pull us off the stage. I mean,
That's awesome.
The fans of this music, man, they care. Like people bringing me presents like chocolate and shit like that. It's hilarious, but
That's very cool.
it's nice when you're that far away from home to
That is awesome, though. That's
somebody to
awesome.
be nice like that. But yeah, definitely those three shows were the highlights. I mean, they were just a lot of the other shows were big, but a lot of the crowds in Europe are shy, for lack of a better term. They don't really, I like a reactive crowd because I'm pretty active on stage, and when they're not, I feel like they're not enjoying it, and then I get off stage and they're like, "Oh, that was fucking great." So, but like the German crowds were very.
I could imagine that though, like especially in Germany. I could imagine that they're clapping on the 1, 2, and 3 and 4. They act like they're not having a good time, then all of a sudden they're just like, "You are fucking amazing." Yeah, I
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how it was.
You brought me much passion inside of me.
That's good.
Yeah, I could completely fucking imagine East Europe being the craziest. Those dudes are into what is on the cutting edge right now as far as electronic music. They're so into it. They're so passionate about it, and in some instances, they've kept it alive.
For sure. And they don't get many shows. It's hard to get in and out of those countries. So like we spent 2 days in Berlin just getting our visa nailed down for Belarus, and we stayed outside the venue. I mean, no, not the venue, the embassy for like 4 hours before they even let us in.
Wow.
I mean, it was a huge process, and it was like an 8-hour border time. It was miserable. But the show made up for it for sure.
Did they distrust you at all?
I think they just like fucking with people. Like
so you were American, huh?
They pulled out all the merch, and they had to make a phone call
to
like higher ups for all the Satanism and shit.
Oh my God, you're promoting witchcraft here. We want to know if they're allowed in the country or not.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Actually, a fan of mine got arrested in St. Petersburg, Russia, for wearing one of my shirts.
I could imagine with the skull on the head and everything. Was it the behemoth picture with the glowing skull or the glowing cross and everything?
It was one with the upside down cross. I don't remember.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because that completely corrupt country has to keep its moral integrity alive.
Exactly.
No hate towards any Russians, either. By the way, I've known
No,
a lot, and
man,
they're awesome. But yeah,
they
the
don't
government
like
is
it there
completely
either,
corrupt.
as far
Yeah,
as I could tell, anyway.
yeah, it's true. They've always had that strange relationship. In my experiences with East Europeans, especially Russians, they've always had this love hate with their own system that they've had. They're loyal to it, but they understand that it sucks sometimes.
Yeah,
But
for
what are you
sure,
going to
for
do?
sure.
And you have that very Russian attitude about it. Yeah, what are you going to do? I love that. So that's pretty cool. You had a great tour. You had a education, pretty much, right? I mean, this was mainly an education tour to figure out what it's going to take, what it's going to be like to do it
Yeah,
better.
definitely just and to see how people would react, and to show like all the promoters in all these different countries that we could actually pull this off and finish it without any problems. So it was definitely, so next time we go back, we can up the travel costs and bring synthesizers and make all the nerds happy.
Right. Oh God. Don't do that. Don't make them happy. Keep them unhappy. That's
No,
what
it's cool. I want to do it. I want to have more equipment. It's there's definitely, I've played in bands for, like, always. This is just the first time I've ever done electronic music, and so being on stage without where there's time to not do anything is pretty awkward feeling.
Yeah, I can imagine. I could very much imagine. For me, it was the same way. Actually, I have a long storied history of performing on stage with more traditional setups, and doing anything like this is completely weird, and it makes me feel useless sometimes. I'm like, am I doing this right? I don't think I am. I think I'm supposed to be like filling with something.
Oh man, you just gotta pump your fist and that's it. I mean, that's all the big guys do.
It's true. It is true. It's all they do, or jump up and down.
Jump up
But
and
you have to
down.
have a big bangly necklace so it jumps around with you. But yeah, man, it's so fucking crazy how things have changed. But yeah, you have come from, I'm assuming, as from studying you aesthetically, you've come from a metal background.
Yeah,
Is that
for
true?
sure. Yeah, for
Awesome.
sure.
So, tell me about your metal background. Actually, so what did you grow up with? I mean, what kind of metal did you get into? What kind of metal did you evolve with, and all that good stuff?
I think the first like heavier band I was into was if I'm being honest, it was probably Nirvana, and then my brother left behind a bunch of CDs at one point, and it was like Suicidal Tendencies and
Ooh,
stuff like that. So I guess the first real metal that I myself got into was like new metal and stuff like that. I was like 14 when all that shit was happening, so I had no idea that it wasn't all that awesome at the time. It was
yeah.
great, and then I got into more like like death metal and doom and stuff like that, and mainly played a lot of doom, some hardcore here and there, but mainly doom.
That is so crazy how Doom has made a resurgence. It's so
Yeah,
strange. It
and
was
it's been a
so
long one too.
yes,
Like
yes,
for like
yes.
10 years now, it's been going pretty strong.
It's true. Yeah, Doomdrome, all the subgenres, everything that comes from that world. It's so weird how that came full circle. Because I remember when it was just the uber cool kids were only into it.
Yeah,
I was
there when I was listening to new metal, that shit was happening, and I had no idea about it.
yeah. Well,
Like
man,
Sleep and all those bands were
fuck yeah.
were paving the way for everyone, and here I was, little little James in East Texas, listening to fucking Corn.
You were telling people that's not their purse, and that you don't know them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I remember because I grew up in the days of like when Deftones put out their first album, when Caius was coming around, and I remember Down coming out. That
Oh
was the kind of
yeah.
shit that I was listening to at that time. And God,
Yeah,
yeah,
we all listen to Pantera here. I mean, that's just
oh
the
yeah,
given.
that's a
Down,
hymnal,
Pantera,
right?
COC. I mean, yeah, COC. All the southern fucking bands you can think of. I Hate God. That's
Yeah,
like, yeah. I mean, that's just if you like metal here, fucking listen to that.
I could imagine. I could imagine because in growing up in the South, anyways, Pantera was big by proxy because they came from the South.
For
So
sure.
it
Yeah.
was like I can imagine what it's like in Texas. Like I said, it's probably like a hymnal.
Oh
But
man, there's still bands here trying to sound like Pantera.
oh, I'm sure that there's still bands everywhere that sort of sound like Pantera. Everyone's doing Anselmo faces.
Oh yeah, that guy's such a fucking pain.
Exactly. Yeah. I enjoy watching Phil Anselmo interviews, though.
Yeah, I like him. I like watching him fall apart.
I do,
It's pretty
I
funny.
do. It's like performance art when you watch him. He starts just going crazy. He starts, putting his head down, just, man.
Man, I'll tell you, these parents nowadays, kids, blah, hey, get off my lawn.
I grew up looking down a fucking barrel of a gun.
That's
Fuck you know
good.
about that. But you know what? He's a boxing scholar. That's the crazy thing about him. He can
Really?
actually, yeah, he's a legit boxing analyst. He writes articles a couple of times. He's wrote some very intelligent articles about boxing, and not just about whoever's the hottest in the throne at the time. He's really studying undercards and things like that. He's fascinating about that, and he actually took a boxing trainer with him on tour all the time. And I can imagine what that would be like. I need to hit these fucking mitts right now. Dimebag's getting the fuck on my nerves. It'd be great. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall on tour with Pantera. Only a fly on the wall.
Crazy. I'm sure you've seen those documentaries they released.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Growing up for me, metal was going through like a strange period. It was pre new metal. And it was right before the storm of new metal. And then the new metal took over, the hip hop breakdown, new metal type of stuff.
Yeah.
Those are dark times.
They were dark times.
Those were dark days. Yeah, I cut my life into pieces.
Oh Jesus, that was when it really started to fucking. Whenever there were bands like that coming out, like recycling new metal, and even dumbing that down, like I guess the first wave of new metal. That was those bands were horrible. Fucking Papa Roach, my god.
Oh, how did Crazy Town get thrown in with new metal? But they did too, because they look like a new metal band, I guess.
Yeah, but they got a weird ass fucking sound. That one song they had that was like a pop song. It wasn't metal.
I don't deserve you. That sounds great. Oh my god, you my butterfly.
That's the one. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was such shit. God, that was bad.
It was.
I think the guy's name was like Shell Shock or Shelly or something. I can't remember. It's some stupid like that.
They all had
Shell Shock.
Dumbass names. Fieldy, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah. When I get up on the stage, I give everybody Shell Shock.
Oh my god.
Flows be fucking you up. Shit.
Fucking,
Lincoln
we were
Park.
talking about this earlier with a friend. I was talking about what was that fucking band? Painted themselves all ridiculous. Like a silver face.
Oh god.
Blue mohawk.
Mudvayne?
Oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
My god. That dig song? Jesus.
Yes. That was the days where you detuned your guitar, played an open string, and then hit a random fret. Burning. That's how you made a fucking new metal riff back in those days. Burning.
Yeah, you're nailing it. You're nailing
exactly. Well, I was trying to make a way on stage during the days of the new metal craze, and it was sad and it was scary because the fans were demanding it at that time. They were just, what's your tattoos? Shit. What's your piercings? Yeah. Shit. Like that was how it was, and the metal people talk like that. It was weird.
Yeah, it was. It was very weird. I remember I was in a couple bands during the same time, and we were doing more of a hardcore thing, and it was fucking weak, man. I mean, all the fucking you're nailing it, like the way they talked, and yeah, and it was that or nothing. Can you imagine being like a fucking hair metal band, an up and coming hair metal band in like 1993?
No.
That would have been the worst days, man.
Yes, that would have been the worst days. Those were the worst days. Yeah,
for sure.
Because there was the guys that were on the back burners of like Warner Brothers, places like that, like huge ones that had a lot of money put into them already, and they built them for like 2-3 years, and then Nevermind comes out, Tool comes out.
Everything changed. Everything fucking.
Yeah, overnight. And then those dudes had to come down with an album and come out when they had like long blonde hair. They looked like they walked off a runway. You know, they
Yeah,
all
everybody
said,
was like, "Well, we're over that shit. Sorry, sorry about your career."
Ugly Kid Joe. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, and that
That
is a good
band,
example.
they
Fucking
came out.
Candlebox.
Oh God, that was horrible. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm the only person that doesn't like that group ever.
I liked them when I was 13, but I mean, I fucking liked Transformers at the time still, probably. So I can't be
Yeah,
held accountable.
exactly. No one should shoot you over that.
I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, those were the days though, man. That was the dark times. But then, after the new metal hit, what that wave hit around the mid 2000s, rock made like hard rock, like LA hard rock made like a comeback for a minute. And it was back to the drawing board with hair metal again. It was really
For sure.
weird.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, all those. Are you talking about like fucking Guns N' Roses type shit or what?
Yeah, we got that, and then we had like revivalist kind of stuff, and then now you've got shit like Black Veil Brides,
Well, yeah,
like that
yeah.
now, who have completely went the other way, and yeah, it's crazy. But there were like these really skinny dudes, really effeminate, but they're really in your face, suck my dick, ah, lick my chick, and I remember that. That's still, I guess there's still a niche for that now. That's weird. It is weird.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Because metal was going through like a PhD period at that time too, where they were having a lot of more prog related stuff and more,
Technical, yeah.
yeah. I don't
Fucking
know.
helmets.
Oh man, are you talking? Oh, you're talking about Helmets, not the band Helmet, right?
No, I'm talking about the band helmet.
Oh, I love Helmet.
Yeah, me too. I mean, but kind of them and Tool, all those bands were making it more of a.
Yeah,
We're smart. Read my lyrics; they are fucking deep.
I saw Helmet twice, and both times I wish I brought earplugs. That was the loudest fucking band I've ever seen in my life. Was Helmet.
Yes.
They were just, I mean, it's like they just went raw. They didn't mic anything. Just
I'm
just put
sure
everything
they
up
probably
on
had
11.
like fucking full stacks cranked
Yeah,
up.
walls of sound, just it was awesome though. But God, after a while, you just became numb to it. You didn't even know what you're listening to anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You couldn't ever hear them sing either. God, I remember Helmet. That was some good stuff too, though.
No, I liked Helmet for sure.
Yeah, there's no, now that's something that's missing right now in metal, is that it's just kind of that razor's edge, very sharp, sardonic kind of metal, kind of smart but minimalist wall of sound type stuff. Yeah, that's not big anymore.
No, no, but metal's such a fucking big genre now, and
It is.
so it's a blanket statement now, which is it's probably one of the biggest genres of music in the world, hands down. I mean, they don't get any airplay or anything really, but
No,
as far as record sales goes and shit like that, I'm sure that it rivals pop worldwide. I mean, it's
I'm
fucking
sure ticket sales do very much too.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a huge thing now. Well, it's a world now. Now it's a world. Now it's not even like, the big guys, the heavier stuff, the death stuff, and then whatever in between. Now it's like you got meta this and proto this and post this. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
so weird now. So when did you get into this electronic music then? Like how did that switch happen for you?
Literally about the same time that actually I was in the car today on the way back from going somewhere with my wife, and that Pump Up the Volume song came on from like 86 or whenever the it's just a repetitive like house track, and I had a babysitter at the time that gave me a tape of that, and it literally had the same version of the song 6 times on each side of the tape, and I fucking wore that tape out, man. That was probably my first actual real love for music, was that fucking song. And at the same time that my brother left all those CDs behind, there was stuff like the Smiths and Depeche Mode and all that shit mixed in, and so I was listening to all that when I was trying to play metal. It's not very there's nobody in the South fucking playing new wave, you know what I mean, when
Yeah.
you're 12 years old,
No,
15 years old.
that's absolutely the truth.
So I did metal and quietly listened to my sensibilities.
Shamefully.
Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely can completely sympathize with that. My brother was never into metal. I was the rebel for being into metal in my family because no one was. My brother was into like he was into like the whole alt scene in the late 80s and the 90s and the college rock scene and the Manchester scene of the Cure and things like that.
Right, right.
And my sister was too. My mom was into like Devo and Blondie, and I grew up with that and the Beatles.
Oh, that's cool.
And I met this kid who was like, I don't know, 6 grades ahead of me, and he was listening to Guns N' Roses. It was the first time I listened to Appetite for Destruction, and that like sealed it for me. And then I just went deeper after that.
Yeah, I think I had the same kind of thing. It was like the Black Album by Metallica of all things. I remember being like, oh, fuck, 10 years old, and a friend showing me that, and I was like, holy shit. And then he actually showed me Pretty Hate Machine about the same time. I
Nice
remember
album.
hearing that record and being like, what the this is happening in the world? Like, that was mind meltingly heavy for a
That
young
was.
kid.
Yeah,
It still is. Even the production on that is fucking amazing today.
yeah, that was a different shade of heavy, different shade of dark. It was this, I don't know how to explain it. It was this honest, defacing kind of dark. I listened to that when I was a young kid too because of my neighbor. I had this pot smoking neighbor in the Navy who lived below us in an apartment building, and then he polished guns. He was a crazy guy. He was and he would lend me CDs, and I would listen to like Pretty Hate Machine. I listened to all kinds of shit and from him, and that was some crazy shit. Now I'm down in it. I remember that.
Yeah.
And then Broken was, to this day, I think Broken's one of the most heavy albums ever made. That was a great fucking album. EP really, but that was good. So I guess the setup that you guys are going to do is going to maybe mirror a lot of Nine Inch Nails, their live setup.
Yeah, I mean, especially, Carpenter Brute, he has a band that he plays with live, and like he has a drummer and a guitar player. It's a complete different fucking thing. It's a bit weird to watch coming from an electronic standpoint. I mean, it's really cool, but it's almost like if you walked into the room and you didn't know who Brute was, to me, it wouldn't register. It would be like I'm watching a band. So it's kind of strange, because in electronic music, you always focus on like one fucking person, unless it's like synth pop or some shit.
Right.
So yeah, I saw him in at the end of this last tour, and I don't remember the name of the town. It was in France, but it was cool, but it was just very different.
Was it a good show? I mean, I'm actually curious about what Carpenter Brute would be like live.
Yeah, it was really good. He doesn't. It's more like a metal thing. There's no transitions. Like songs just change right on the dime, and there's not a moment of silence or anything. It's a straightforward set. Very entertaining. I mean, having a band to watch as opposed to one person, it's tough to kind of compete with that.
Yeah.
But he's also, man, he's also having trouble getting shows because of how many people he is traveling with him. So
So he's like an entourage.
yeah, he's got like 8 people.
I can imagine that. He's kind of a loner, isn't he?
Yeah, man. He's he's got a lot of integrity.
I'll read between the lines on that. Actually, I'll say it. I hate that artist point of view with that, the artiste point of view. I hate it. God, I do.
I think with him though, it really is coming from an honest place. I do. It seems weird because that's just not how I am. But I've hung out with him, and I don't. He's very particular about how he wants his music to be presented, and I can't fault him for it. It's just, he's missing out on opportunities because of it. But I don't think he gives a fuck, to be honest.
Yeah, if you're in a good position or a good situation, you can afford being that way. If you don't have rent or something.
Well, I think he's a studio engineer, and he does pretty well in that for metal bands and stuff. So this is just something that happened for him, and it's not a big deal. He told me he's already really accomplished more than he thought he would. So,
well, there you go. And that makes a lot of sense then. And you can, like I said, you can afford to be that way. If I if I was at that point, I think maybe I would be that way too. I would just be like, yeah, fuck you, I don't care.
It's easier, yeah. If you're selling records and you got loads of fans, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine that I could see him being a studio engineer. He's got really high end polished production.
Definitely.
Very, yeah, very high end production. Listening to a lot of his tracks for references sometimes is humbling. When you listen to like his drums and things like that. Yeah,
For sure. That's actually I found him on SoundCloud, not SoundCloud, Bandcamp randomly, and I mean he already had a few followers, but nobody in the synth scene knew about him, and his production is what kind of inspired me and Perturbator to step our shit up. So we
so
even asked him how he did it, and he was like, "I'm not telling you." so, so we had to do it on our own, but it was good because I think it's presenting the music to a whole different fucking group of people that wouldn't listen to it if it wasn't as polished as it is. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I always feel like when people say that, it's because it's a very simple thing and they're not going to tell you.
But yeah,
It's
maybe.
usually something very simple. But yeah, man. So how did you come about with the Blood Music guys then, Perturbator and Dan Terminus and da 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 da? How did all that happen for you?
Well, actually, Perturbator got approached by 20 Buck Spin first, which is a like a doom metal label here in America, and it didn't work out. And then at about the same time, and I'm not sure why, if it was connected or not, but Josh from Blood Music hit him up and was like, "I think we can make this work. Let's do what nobody in synthwave's done. Let's make a bunch of physical shit. Let's make a bunch of merch and just see if we can make it, next a little bit next level from what everybody's trying to do, and get out of our fucking studios, get out of the basement. You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And so that worked really well. And James Perturbator, he the whole time he was telling Josh about me because we were already pretty good friends, and I sent Josh all the tracks that were Behemoth, and he was like, "Yeah, let's fucking do it." So he signed me, and we spent a few months getting everything release ready and in the right order and everything. And so yeah, I mean, we had no idea that Behemoth was going to do what it did. I had like 1,000 followers on Facebook whenever he signed me, and I was selling maybe 60 Bandcamp collections. So
Not too bad though for yourself. Not too bad at all.
no, it was okay. It was doing okay, but it was definitely a good thing to hook up with him. And once you start releasing physical shit, it really gives a face to it, and people love that shit, and it's good. I mean,
It's true. Very true. So that's actually a pretty cool story. So I mean, which goes to show that if you step it up, if you try to step it up, at least try to, then you're immediately going to see some kind of a leap in your fandom.
for
If you
sure. I
actually
mean,
do that.
and all the way around, production wise, your scope, what you. I never thought I'd tour Europe, but Josh has that vision for us, and he's once he signed, he was like, "You want to do this? Do you want to go next level?" And so, he really pushed that, and I never thought messing around on a computer would get me across the ocean. But I think it's important. I think it's important for the scene to grow, for more people to broaden, to think bigger, and work really hard on their production and their songwriting. And I've noticed things in the scene have been getting a little repetitive and predictable, and I think people need to I know it's a retro scene, and I appreciate some of the retroness of it, and if that's where people want to go with it, that's fine, but I don't think that excludes it from creativity and invention. I think people really need to think a little bit outside the box if we want this to uh, be a thing that is sustainable.
Yeah, things come back around full circle. I mean, and I don't mean in the sense of nostalgia or retro or anything like that. I mean in production, things like that. Eventually you get to a point where you have to go back to the same fundamentals that got anyone where it got them with anything.
That's
Having
true.
a direction, having an image, knowing what that is, keeping it to what it's supposed to be, not always stepping out a little bit, but not going crazy. Evolving organically, making physical copies. Trying to get your stuff as clean as possible. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably some of the stuff that, and it's hard to explain, but in the scene that gets overlooked, but not in the sense where it's neglected. It's like it's overanalyzed, I think. and a lot of people, and they're paralyzed by it. A lot of people are paralysis through analysis, I guess you can say.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could feel that.
I see that a lot of people sit there and debate a snare sample for 6 hours. They'll do that.
Ugh. Yeah, I've done that with myself in my studio for weeks. So
You should though by yourself.
yeah,
Because that's going to make something. That's that's going towards something. There's a product at the end of that debate with yourself, and you listen to that and you're like, I win. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. But when you're doing with other people, it doesn't tend to happen. Not after that. You'll just do it.
yeah. I had a few arguments a few years ago with people, and I decided that I just wasn't gonna. I wasn't gonna get into that because fuck, it doesn't really matter. And when I'm arguing on the internet, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any work. I'm not making any
It's
music.
true. Very true. And I think the inaccessibility helps you out a little bit too. I've noticed that from people. People who tend to be more inaccessible tend to be seen as a lot more successful and thus are in some ways more successful because you're
For
not
sure.
giving yourself away. I've
Yeah,
noticed that. I've
yeah,
noticed
yeah.
a lot of people. It's so. How do you, here's a question I've always thought about was how do you feel about being seen sort of like a commodity of a scene now? I mean, you, and of course the other two guys, Perturbator, Dan Terminus, mainly in the scene. You and Perturbator are kind of seen as commodities, where people almost like own shares of you, um,
Yeah,
emotionally. Let's put it that way.
yeah. No, it is it's strange. Uh, it's something you don't ever think about, and even until you ask that question, I don't ever think about it. It's just I just like doing what I'm doing, and I do it. But some people do get a little intense, and I think what a lot of times people think we're bigger. Things are bigger than they are. Like people are always like, "Come to my city, come to my town," and I'm like, "Well, fucking make it happen." Like I can't just show up and there's gonna be,
Right.
if I fucking played Kansas, there'd be like 15 people there, maybe.
Right. You show up in the Deathmobile and everybody knows about it. You're gonna do your show. Just,
Fucking red carpet entrance and
don't you know who the fuck that is?
a signing at Best Buy.
Right. Exactly. That's hilarious. But yeah, I could imagine seeing
It's
that.
it's interesting though because I feel like the bigger that we get with our own projects, the scene or the synth wave people pay less and less attention to us, which is a bit weird, but it is what it is.
Do you think that's some kind of I don't know how to explain it. Do you think it's some kind of strange passive aggressive thing, or is it
I
what
don't
do
know
you
if
think
it's
it
like
is?
elitism or if it's just maybe they genuinely don't give a fuck about what we're doing anymore because we have changed and our sound isn't, you know, synth wave, in my opinion.
I
Uh,
never thought it was. I see it aesthetically. I saw it as aesthetically as that, but it was hard to place what it was. I think that's kind of was the draw of it. You
for
know,
sure. And the fucking synth wave genre is a huge blanket term as well for so many different sounds, fucking from what we do all the way to like Gunship and Mitch Murder. I mean, it's completely different, but we're all being looped together. So that's cool.
yeah,
Whatever.
everyone is getting looped together. It's true. I I wonder. Well, here's the thing. I think it's strange that people think that way about you guys because you guys have evolved organically. I mean, there's a logical flow from things, and it's really understandable. I can see it. Looking at Perturbator's new album, it's not a complete betrayal of anything. It's a logical progression.
For sure. Yeah. I think he
You
did
know,
really well with it.
I think he did really well with it too. I think I see that we're making new words up for things, and I'm seeing that a lot, and people are calling it a cyberpunk album, and it's because we've kind of redone cyberpunk now.
Right.
We've redesignated the term to mean something else now. It's really strange. I love it
It is
though.
strange. Yeah.
I love this
Yeah. It is.
revisionism.
It's interesting. We're having quite a bit of issues with larger press and things like that. They don't want to touch it. And it's because I think they're confused. Like, I guess either they don't want things to change and they don't want to accept something new, or they really just don't think it's anything. Because I mean, we've Blood Music's hired some pretty decent publicists for Perturbator, and I mean, he's gotten some good coverage. But as far as like, like more mainstream type shit, they're trying to ignore it, and they tell us that no one's interested in it, and these kinds of things. But people are definitely interested in it, and so it's cool watching things grow, and watching both sides of things, watching the synthwave community sort of maybe turn us into the bastard children of synthwave, and then the bigger market is still trying to ignore it. So we're in a weird fucking place right
I see that. Yeah, you kind of feel like there's a target on your back a little bit.
now.
But that's good. That's actually good. I mean, it's not good to go through in the middle of it, I could imagine. But it is good because it is creating a mystique. And there's one thing that you can say that's for sure is that you definitely have a mystique around you, and that's I don't think that's going to go anywhere anytime soon.
No,
I think it's just about
hope not.
recognizing it. Recognize. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't see anyone from even like Vice who covered Perturbator and still covers some synthwave here and there. Very very touch and go, but they do. They don't recognize the metal side of it, which is kind of weird because that's the
They
side
don't.
that's emerging, or
Yeah, it's weird how that, like, when we started, and Perturbator was on like his second LP, and I just started writing music. You know, nothing was heavy in the scene at all, and it wasn't going metal, and it just kind of like you said, it was totally organic on our part, and it's weird that that's really the one that's starting to take more of a foothold. Uh, that's kind of the evolution of the scene on a bigger scale, which is something that no one saw coming, I don't think.
I think metal is becoming an attitude, just like punk became an attitude after a while. It didn't just be about, this is what punk is. It became, whether correctly or not, it became synonymous with a sort of attitude. And I think that's what's happening with metal right now. And because of it, it's able to expand its boundaries a little bit and include some other things like this into it because it has a very metal attitude.
For
It's
sure, that's all it has. I mean, it's fucking dance music. No, there's no two ways about it. It's electronic music, and
right.
it's definitely the aesthetic that's got to be drawing people in, because I mean, it's not fucking Slayer.
Yeah, my intro into synthwave into that whole world was actually Mega Drive. And when I listened to Mega Drive, it was like the audacity of that type of music that got me into it because that was kind of music that was hailed and panned as bad and cheesy and shitty and don't go near it.
Right.
For the longest time, it was like that, and to me, that's a lot like metal. That's how at first a lot of aspects of metal is taken into. It's just like, oh, stay away from that redneck music, and it keeps going and it rolls until it starts to become this big blob that has a lot to it, a lot more dimensions to it that people have to respect after a while. And I think that kind of happened with that. When I listened to Mega Drive, it was a lot like that. I was like, is this what's going on now? People are starting to make this. Okay, I'm down with that. That's that's so fucking out there that I want to be a part of that because that's so cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be some 15-year-old metalheads, 15 today, our age tomorrow, talking about how dark these days were when synth music was metal.
It's maybe you never
This
know.
dude's this dude's in like battle vests and battle jackets at the shows, man. Metal as fuck.
I'm sure there is. I mean, it completely makes sense to me for some reason too. I can't sit there and just claim that I know why it makes sense to me. It doesn't, but it does make sense. When I see those crowds of people, I'm not completely shocked. Like I said, there's something rebellious about it. There's something that says, the guitar is not king anymore unless you want or unless you want it to earn its place back to the throne.
Right on.
And I think a lot of it is that. I mean, a lot of people have gotten away from guitar music anyways. And when you get away from it, are you going to lose all of the spiritual qualities of what music the guitar made? Probably not. You're going to keep that.
For
Just
sure,
miss the
yeah.
6 strings. That's it.
Definitely. I mean, I think naturally, electronic music will grow and grow and grow and because of technology. I mean, it's increasingly harder to use classical type instruments and make new things with them because we're bound by our human abilities, and technology gives us a fucking easier way to make progress, I think. Because I'm not saying there won't be progress on the guitar, because there will be. There always is. Anytime we think that it's fucking done and people can't do anything more, they're doing more, and humans are playing like computer blast beats now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that 10 years ago, I would have been like, fuck, there's no way. It's not going to get any faster. But we do that. But it takes longer, I think, uh, to physically change music than with technology. Because, you had the 80s, which was a huge leap from like the 60s rock scene, with the induction of synthesizers and drum machines. That really changed everything. I mean, changed pop music, it changed everything.
it did.
And yeah, I think it's natural. I think it's a good thing. I don't get hung up on it. I'm not one of those old guys that's like, oh man, music today. You know what I mean? I
Oh
hate
yeah,
that
I know
shit.
exactly what you mean, and I do hate that too. That's you fucking don't know music. You don't know music.
Let's
When
say
I was growing
music.
up, that's three fucking chords. I don't give a shit what you play at home. It's, it's the truth though. I do hate that attitude, and it's what's scaring me is seeing my contemporaries start to take on that attitude
Fuck yeah,
over
man. I've
time.
got plenty of friends that have given up and they're listening to like shit that we were listening to when we graduated high school. And I'm like, God damn it, man. And you're still wearing Pumas, like the same ones like. I don't understand the staleness there and mentality. It really bothers me, bums me out.
Yeah, me too. It's sad. It's sad. I have a couple of times where I'll get students that'll come in and they'll just be like, "I want to learn how to play what and when music was good," and they'll like look the part too. And I'm like, "Are you really that invested? Like, like really? Are you that invested? You wake up in the morning and this is it. This is you. This is this is what we're doing now. This is just got my shell top on.
I ain't changing
Like,
it for nothing.
that's true. Life is peachy. Shit."
God damn.
It's true though, man. I'll still every once in a while catch myself in a real life conversation with people and just be like, music metal hasn't gone past Life is Peachy. And I'm just like, we have to stop talking right now. Like we
Yeah. You're gonna see me act like a fool
yeah,
and get way
exactly.
too intense about it.
Exactly. And I don't want people to think I'm like you. I'm not that invested. But yeah, I'll have those same conversations, Great Southern Trinket was the last greatest metal album ever. And I'm like, my heart just stopped. You just broke it.
It's not even the
You just,
best Pantera album.
it's not.
It's still a good album.
It was a good album. In fact, I thought it was one of the times where they really tried to hybridize the most, and it wasn't hybridizing in a mainstream. They were doing some real hardcore stuff mixed in with this southern metal stuff that they've been doing forever, and I
Okay.
liked it. I liked it a lot. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't an album that you could pop in and just bam. For me, like Vulgar Display or some shit like that. Obviously, those are classics, but
Definitely, yeah.
um,
Yeah, but I mean, those albums have their place, man. And that actually, like, I think my new record that's coming out later this year is not going to be, it's not as in your face as Behemoth. It's definitely a slower listen. So I'm interested to see how people react, because it's going to take a little bit more thought on the listener's part, I think, to enjoy it. It's not as heavy. It's still got heavy tracks, but it's more of a concept. So we'll see.
so what is the concept, if you don't mind sharing whatever you want to share about it?
Well, the title is Non Paradisi, and it's basically just based loosely around the Milton's epic poem Paradise Lost. And so it's about the fall from heaven and the rise out of the lake of fire. And the art reflects it really well. I mean, it's a big project all the way around. Lots of art, lots of there's more vocals on this release. And like I said, it's a slower listen, but it's got orchestral sounds on it. It's not as simple as Behemoth was. So
Nice, nice. I thought Behemoth was a perfect balance, to be quite honest. It was very aggressive, but it was still very rooted into its dance history. And
Definitely.
I like that. And I like that it was essentially an aggressive take on it, and I thought that was kind of unique. Well, it wasn't kind of; it was very unique, specifically for the time it was released. Too, there was nobody doing anything like that per se. I think artistically they were, like visually, people were, but not representing the sound right along with it.
Right, right,
It
right.
wasn't.
I
It
appreciate that,
was.
man.
Yeah, I honestly think that. I think you stepped out of the John Carpenter track of things.
Right. Yeah.
And I like that because it's overdone a lot, and that was just one flavor, I think, and a lot of people kind of latch onto that, and everything's just this minimalist type of thing. And I don't know, it didn't get my blood flowing though, and I could say Behemoth did. I was just listening to that this morning, actually.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I worked really hard on that. This was I wanted to. I can't create the same thing twice. I mean, I'm already working on the next album, and it's gonna be the heaviest thing I've ever done. But I won't name names, but a lot of people get stuck in a rut, and a lot of sometimes people get called on it. It kind of weirds me out. Like when you release 2 or 3 releases that don't grow at all. It's like, and you don't have to grow like changing your sound, but even songwriting or whatever. Uh, it's important to me anyway. I guess maybe I shouldn't judge other people on it, but it's very important for me in my own music. I have to change and not feel samey at any point in time.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's not it's not it's not nice to judge people, I guess you could say, but at the same time, you've kind of earned your status as somewhat of an ambassador of the style. So I think when you speak, I don't think it's so much judging as it is aesthetically judging things, which is kind of something that you can do, I think. Yeah, I see a lot of EPs being made that the next month the same person will make another EP, and the next month another EP, and, and it
Oh yeah, we know
sounds
about the
right.
a lot of prolific artists in the scene.
And a lot of those EPs kind of sound like just the next track of the last EP.
Definitely, yeah.
And
But I
I,
mean, you'll see it if you pay attention that those artists don't really grow in following either. Like
mhm.
I think people do notice when somebody's being stagnant. They just don't. Maybe they're too nice to say something. I don't know. Sometimes people are fucking rude to me and perturbating. When somebody hates what we're doing, they fucking hate it.
I was going to ask you about that actually.
Oh man, I've had
So,
like people saying I should kill myself.
yeah. Well, you're nobody on the internet until you've been told to kill yourself. That's, that's the truth.
And then religious people get pretty upset about it. It's just hilarious because I'm not a Satanist. I don't believe in anything, but they get pretty upset, man. I'll pray for you, and you should die.
That's awesome. That's amazing. That is there's a dark beauty in all of that. I'll pray for your soul while I pray for your death.
YouTube's the best place to find those wonderful comments.
YouTube has replaced 4chan for the sludge of the internet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever commented on a YouTube video. It's a strange person that does though.
I will comment on MMA fights, and that's it. That's that's all I'll comment.
Oh man, that's a lot of comments too on those fucking videos.
Oh man, don't get me started on that. I won't do the comments where I'm like an armchair fighter, where I'm just, he's a pussy, fuck him.
What?
He deserves to get his ass kicked. Like, I hate that. I hate that. It's always from somebody that doesn't even know how to throw a punch, and that person, they would piss their pants if they were face to face with them.
Oh
I hate
yeah,
that so much. God, I hate that so bad, especially when it's an amazing fighter. That's what pisses me off the most.
even the MMA losers are fucking crazy bastards. I mean, I wouldn't
Yeah,
to
exactly.
even have the balls to get into that sort
Exactly.
of thing. I
If
don't
you have
like.
if you have a 0-3 record in the UFC, you can still beat the shit out of just about anybody. And
That's true.
that's just the truth. You just can't hang with monsters. That's it. That's all you can do, and that's not saying anything bad about you at all. You just can't go to the jungle and hang out with Godzillas.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I get so mad about that. Uh, but yeah, that's about the only time that I comment, and I'm usually commenting on some kind of analysis thing of it. That's like my side passion in life is analyzing fights. I love watching fights and analyzing them, figuring out what happened, what went wrong, what went well, and yeah, YouTube is a shitty place to be in the comment section. You can go to like nice things, like just
Oh yeah, like a fucking cat video or something.
exactly.
And no reason to be upset about it, and somebody's fucking telling someone else that the shit, the worst things you can imagine someone saying to someone else.
I've seen Bob Ross videos with shitty comments on them. That's where you know you've got a fucking cultural problem.
Yeah.
Bob Ross.
We've always had this problem, but the internet really is just puts a magnifying glass on all our bullshit.
I think so. It puts like a speaker in people's brains.
Yeah.
Just say it.
Oh yeah, look, fuck, we are all pieces of shit.
It's true. It's so true though. It's our brains are half animal. I mean, it's half of it's just fuck, eat, fuck. You know, it's just
And be better than that guy.
exactly.
And if I'm not better, I'll just tell everyone I'm better.
Exactly. And the other side is just like, I kind of want love. I want a hug. I want somebody to appreciate me.
Yeah, and just think if we couldn't fucking talk, we would be just like fucking animals. It's just a little thing separating us.
Exactly. And you would be sitting still and then shitting your hand and throwing it the next second.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we would do because of that chaos in our brains. We'd have enough. Like, fuck, I can't get enough of it. Blah, blah, and just throw it at people. Fuck you. I'm angry. Love me. Pet me. What you got to eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me too mean.
I've seen a lot of passive aggressive hate towards anyone successful in the synthwave scene. It's mainly passive aggressive though.
Yeah, there is a lot of passive aggression in the scene. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on in the scene, but I guess maybe the reason I noticed it is because the internet, like I've been a part of scenes in the past, but it was, like hardcore stuff long before there were Facebook groups and shit like that. So I don't know. It's just, there is a lot of the scene's pretty I've seen like Nazism shit going on lately. Like, what the fuck is that? Have you seen that?
Yes, it's coming back. It's it's coming
No,
back.
like I mean, like in synthwave, there's like some
yeah.
like cyber Nazi or some shit.
Yeah, it's it's fucked up.
Fucking weird, man. No,
Yeah.
fucking Perturbator got death threats from some German Nazis.
Oh my god! I wonder if they were like Marshall folk guys, like neo folk Marshall.
I have no
industrial
idea.
guys.
Man.
Those guys are hilarious. They have like Facebook groups too, and they'll be like they'll have these big posted posts on there, like where it's a pinned post on the top of their page, and they'll be like, "We are tired of having leftists try to throw us out, try to make us sorry for the way we believe." I'm like, I didn't know this is what this was about. I just wanted to know what Marshall folk was. I didn't know it. This is like jackboot music. I get it. Like, yeah, it's
Nazis. Those guys.
They are just like any flavor on the internet. They're just waiting to hybridize with other things and create something. It's true.
It's true. It's true.
There's
the point was, it's fucking weird. Like the scene is, there's a lot of, there is a lot of passive aggression, which is strange. But I think we're all a bunch of musicians. Nobody in the scene's a real badass. So passive aggression seems pretty normal for us. We're gamers and shit. You know what I mean? I mean, it is what it is. We're musicians. We're pacifists.
I think it was always in every scene per se, in one way or another. I was in a couple of music scenes growing up, and you always had that core. The problem is that core is just the loudest. That's what it is. There's not a lot of people like that. It's just they're the loudest ones. It's that 80-20 ratio. The 20% put the 80% of the content out. So that's what you get. And they look bigger than they really are. And on the internet, you can look a lot bigger than you really are.
Oh, definitely. That definitely gets clouded for people, I think.
Thanks for sock puppets on that one. It's true. It's so true. So when is this album going to be released? Do you know yet?
I do know, but I can't tell you.
I feel. So
it's not that long So I can say that it won't be the end of the year.
But you're looking for a bam surprise, right?
Well, yeah, we're gonna do some premieres over the next few months and hype it a little bit and get see if we can get people excited about it.
Nice. Well, it'd be good to momentum right now. That whole side of synthwave, what people are calling the dark synth world, I guess what we're calling it now, is it's a huge snowball right now of all these big releases coming out. And what's really cool is that they're not getting overshadowed by the next one or in the next one and the next one. So I think it would be a perfect time anyways to be for doing exactly what you're doing because it's
Yeah,
great
that's
time for
the
it.
interesting thing about that is, like me and Perturbator, we have a lot of. I'm sure there are some fans that like us both, but most of my fans are Ghost fans. There's a they definitely compete with one another, and he has more fans, obviously, but um, we all have. There is a separation. Like people that like Dan Terminus fucking like Dan Terminus, and the same with me and Perturbator and Carpenter Brute. There's definitely some people that cross over, but uh, I think that's why the releases don't overshadow one another, is because there are people that are specifically looking ready for my next record who didn't really care as much for Uncanny Valley or whatever. So
Yeah, I think you guys all have very different properties that you all own in real estate with it. I think it's absolutely the truth. Very different feel and vibes and everything, and that's really cool because you get a lot of these labels that kind of have that homogeneousness, the homogeny with all of the other artists on their roster that have that feel to it. It's just it's like another version of that, and you guys kind of have this one's the north, one's the west, one's the south, one's the east type of thing. And I
yeah,
dig
there's
that.
definitely similarities sonically and everything, but I think the vibe of each little project is definitely a lot different. Uh,
Well, very different upbringings too,
oh, for
musically.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
very different upbringings. I don't actually don't know a lot about Perturbator at all.
His parents are both fucking like rock critics, man. His dad's Nick Kent, who played in the fucking Sex Pistols.
Ah,
So he,
okay.
he wins on the upbringing part.
I feel.
I was taking a piss at his house before this last tour, and I look over and there's a fucking note to the family from Iggy Pop. It's fucking nuts.
I wish I was in the physical shape that Iggy Pop was in.
No shit, man.
The fuck does he do?
I don't know, man. He must just like jump around all day, every day. He's a
Yeah,
pretty excitable guy.
they say that like when he's on stage, man, like before he goes on stage and does his show, he's just like it's like he's getting ready for battle. He's just like raw, and then just gets up there and just goes fucking nuts. And maybe that's his exercise regime.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, definitely before I go on, I have to be moving a lot, um, or I'd probably pass out. I mean, Perturbator is very stoic, and he doesn't like to be talked to before he goes on. It's pretty hilarious. He gets kind of he gets kind of pissy about it.
It's a lot like a fighter about to go out into the octagon or the ring and fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, just talk to me right now. I was always actually like that. I was actually kind of very silent and stoic before I did anything, but I wasn't brooding when I finally did it. But yeah, I was one of those people too. I had to do that and just be very quiet. But I don't have I never toured in Paris though. So, but yeah, I I think that's awesome though that you guys are kind of paving the way for the live performance aspect of things and reuniting um, the old industry ways with in this new era. I love that. I love that a lot.
Definitely. I mean, I've always enjoyed performing live, so it was never. Yeah, I've been performing as Ghost in Texas and stuff for quite a while, little tiny shows. So it was never anything that I wasn't going to do on some level.
So what was that like? Just starting out, coming out there, you know, you had your name, you had your image somewhat, I'm sure, and doing these small places.
It was horrible, man.
What?
There were some good shows mixed in here and there, but as a whole, I mean, if you're not expecting, you know, m- the skull and everything and the sound, you know, people are weirded out by it if you just show up to some weird show, like in the middle of a bunch of indie bands or something, and then there's this.
Was it indie bands? Really?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's awesome. That is so fucking great, though. 'Cause that would hit people like from the side, man. Like just coming out, and you had these indie bands coming up doing like I don't know, Decemberists or something, and getting in there, and then you come up there and do what you're doing. That's a great story, though. I mean, those are good roots to come from because it gets you used to what essentially you did on a larger level, anyways, when you got a little bigger.
Definitely, it was. I think Perturbator had only played like 5 shows at the beginning of this tour, and I had already played probably 20, 30 shows. So I was definitely used to being on stage as Ghost with electronic shit, and a little bit more used to how people respond to it and everything. So
what was Dan Terminus like on the tour too? Are you guys kind of close, or?
yeah, we're all really close. Dan's a true original, man. I don't know if you've ever talked to him on the internet, but his internet personality is how he is. It's not just an internet thing. He's fucking crazy, but he's very awesome, very loyal, very kind-hearted guy, and very serious.
I've never really talked to him. I've never talked to any of you guys very often. I always try to like stay in my lane with things and try to remain respectful to people about what they're doing, things like that. Yeah, it's to me it works out better that way. if you ever do eventually talk to somebody, you don't have baggage to go through with it to get
right,
to talk to people. Yeah, I learned that early on though as a musician. It's what you do. Just stay in your lane. If it crosses, cool. Yeah, because I mean, it's even playing small shows, you come across weirdos all the time, and the bigger the show, the bigger the weirdos come around. I never wanted to be seen as one of those weirdos. Like,
there are definitely weirdos out there, man, no doubt.
It's true. It's very true, man. So, we should be expecting to see you back on tour at least by next year, then, right?
There will be a tour this year for sure.
Nice.
Another one.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
There are more shows coming up. And like I said, we're working on a lot of crazy, like not just America or not just US, not just Europe and Scandinavia and all that, but we may make it to places like Mexico and Australia soon. So
Mexico, Latin America, Mexico, those are great places to go. That is an untapped resource of people who are really into that kind
fucking
of
super passionate down there, man.
Yes. I've noticed the same thing. All the Spanish speaking world is like that. And they're really into this kind of music, really into it. And they're untapped. No one's really dealing with them very much. And so he who gets there first gets the lion's share of that.
Yeah, and it's, shit, man. Those countries are always there's crazy shit going on in Mexico all the fucking time.
Most definitely.
So yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully, all that works out.
You definitely walk in the wrong area there.
Yeah, pretty fast. No, I'm gonna stay in the van and in the hotel. I'm not going anywhere special.
Won't be doing any shows in Juarez.
No.
If you did, you guys would have to do like some banda music and sing about drug running and shit like that. That's the only way you'll survive.
God damn.
Start singing about running coke. If I ever had a van that broke down in Juarez, that's immediately what I would do. Just grab my guitar, start singing about that.
Find a hole to crawl into.
That place is fucking scary.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah, man. To think that Mitt Romney's family is shooting guns at them over there right now.
Oh yeah,
as we speak.
Cream of the crop.
Yes. The world, man. It's such a fucking crazy place. It's such a crazy place. And to think that that's like, from you, well, shit from you, that's miles away.
That's right. It's down there, 6-7 hours.
Yeah, that's crazy to think. You just got to go that way 7 hours and then there's World
They're
War III
cutting
going on,
people's heads off down there.
hanging in the air and being like, "This is what you get for fucking with us."
That's what I'm gonna go down there and get some inspiration, man. See if I can hook up with one of the cartels for a month or so. Come back and write the bloodiest LP of all time.
You should probably go down there and dress like La Santísima Muerte and be like
I'll fucking just go like a cholo, man.
exactly.
A
That'd be
white
awesome.
wannabe cholo. That'll probably work out well.
It would work out better than than other strategies, I would think.
Just showing up in all black.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. Probably
Hey
not.
guys.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, I would be fascinated to see that because I have had a strange fascination with Afro Caribbean, Afro Latin American religions, and when you go down to like Mexico, all that brujeria stuff is really fascinating to me. But it's a different world being face to face with it. There, it's very different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when you have like drug shrines, that's when things get weird.
It's fucking amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing, and it's very consistent with the practices of those traditions. It's very hybrid, and it's very alive, and it's taking whatever is relevant and current right now and putting it with whatever is ancient and traditional with them. Very fascinating to me. I'm absolutely fascinated when I see like a statue of La Santísima Muerte with a bunch of like needles put into her head, full of heroin, and a spoon put in her arms and stuff, and that's fucking fascinating and gruesome at the same time.
That's fucking so weird.
It is. It's very weird. It's very weird. What's weirder is that you can have a shrine for that to protect you from the drug police or the military. And then some people in the law enforcement side of it will have a shrine to the same thing to try to catch the drug runners. It's very fascinating. Same thing in China. Well, you'll have what's his name? I think it's Quan Day. I think it is the god of war. You'll have gangsters that will have a shrine to him, and then you'll have the police having a shrine to him too, both praying to catch the other one or to stay away from the other one.
Yeah, we do that in America. It's just like football.
It is. Yeah, I mean, people pray to Jesus for both reasons. Please, Jesus, don't let the cops come and get me.
Yeah.
Please, Jesus, let me catch the bad guys. Yeah, it happens too. Man, there it's like for real though. That's a real world. That's some crazy shit. So
fucking.
you did you come from the guitar world, or what did you play in bands and things like that?
I played guitar and drums.
Guitar and drums. What was your main instrument?
Oh, man, it's hard to say. It's pretty equal between guitar and drums. I started on guitar, but for lack of, there aren't many drummers here, so I played drums for 10 years, 7 years, something like that.
That's cool. I think that's kind of why you're chill. A lot of drummers are. A lot of drummers are a lot more chill, a lot more analytical, a lot more cerebral. Whereas plain like straight out of the box guitarists who that's what they do, me included, are just maladjusted motherfuckers. It's very, very maladjusted. And yeah, I think a lot of drummers are kind of more chill about shit. Every time you're in a band, like drummers never are involved in drama
Fights.
Yeah, they never are. They're always the ones being like, when are we gonna do this?
Maybe that's when maybe that's why when I try to play guitar in a band, it never works out. So I'll try to be like, no, we need to do it this way. And someone will be like, we'll start an argument. I'll be like, oh, fine, whatever, dude. We'll do it your way.
Drum set. Give me the drum set. Yeah, it's man, I'm ashamed of a lot of the fights I've been into in bands when I was a guitarist.
Oh, I've had some pretty good ones, man. I've thrown wine glasses at band members, and I've had tantrums.
I have too.
That's the best thing about doing this is if I have a tantrum, it's right here all by myself. I'll fucking break a pair of headphones or something.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't want to break a pair of headphones though. I gotta pay
well, I've done it.
Wine glasses you can always replace. Yeah, I've had to. the worst one ever was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and it was in the back parking lot. And my band got in a fight, like a physical fist fight with another band,
Oh
like
wow.
we were the Misfits and Motley Crue, just getting a huge fight, and then we both got kicked off the gig. And
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
we were the headliners, and we got kicked off the gig. Everyone
Yeah, I've
blames
been in
me.
similar situations.
Yeah, everyone blamed me. it was it was my fault. It was my fault. I'll readily say it. It was my fault. And the two front men got in a fight together. I was the front man, and the other guy was too. And yeah, we got into it. And the drummer didn't help.
No.
Drummer didn't help at all. He did not have my back.
Hey man. Hey man, that's you. That's you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you have two sticks. Fight with them. You have two melee weapons. What's going on here? Filipino people fight with two sticks. Let's do this. Yeah. So this has been a great conversation with you, man. I really appreciate this. And I hope that you get to go back on the road. You have an amazing tour, amazing journey. I hope that your next release does exactly what you want it to do. And I hope people receive it very well. I hope the press, I hope everything goes well for it, man. I wish you the best of luck. I wish Perturbator, you and Dan Terminus the best of luck. Blood music, all that good stuff. And
Cool, man. Appreciate it.
what is there anything else you want to plug real quick?
No, I think we covered it, dude.
Awesome. Well, man, I really appreciate this. I will hopefully talk to you again at another date. And for all you listening right now, well, no one's listening right now because no one knows that we're doing this right now. But for any of you who will be listening, please check out Gost. What is your Bandcamp
It's
address?
Gost1980s at .bandcamp.com.
It's Gost1980s at .bandcamp.com. And check it all out.
And actually, Blood Music is where Behemoth is, and I think it's blood-music.bandcamp.com.
Go straight there. Check it all out. Check out everyone on the roster of Blood Music. If you are in Europe, you better go ahead and start saving money up now to go see a show. If you're in North America, hopefully, fingers crossed, you better start saving up right now. And if you're around the world, you better start saving up right now because a release is coming on its way. No one knows when, but it's coming. So everyone there, if you are interested, come down to deepweblabel.bandcamp.com and check out Deep Web Music, the label, where we have Crystal Bear coming out with a new physical copy of Oberon. It's going to be something called the Criterion Collection. It's a tape full of his EP, the first EP in a set of 3 that's going to come out, with previously unreleased material from him, all remastered by moi in my studio. And on top of it, you'll get a coloring book that'll come along with it that will tell the story that Crystal Bear wants to be told, the concept behind the whole album. You can also get melatonin melodies from Achromatic Residue, his seminal Witch House album. You can call it Witch House. I like to call it glitched out post Witch House, influenced by a fusion of sexual frustration and metal. Everyone, it's been an amazing journey. You've been a great guest. We've shared some stories. We've bled together. We've done all things through Christ, which strengthens us. Everyone, it's been amazing. We'll talk to you later.